Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for fact-based analysis and sharp coverage of today's biggest global stories. Let's get into today's major headline, one that's raising eyebrows around the world. President Donald Trump, currently serving his second term in office, has confirmed that U.S. nuclear submarines are now, quote, in the region, following heated threats from senior Russian officials. This move marks one of the most direct U.S. military signals since the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and it's a sign that nuclear rhetoric is reaching a dangerous new level. Trump made the announcement while speaking to reporters in New Jersey before boarding Air Force One. He said clearly, "They are in the region." The president was referring to 2 U.S. nuclear submarines, which he had ordered to reposition earlier this week in response to a provocative social media post by Dmitry Medvedev, former president of Russia and current deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council. It all began with Trump's public ultimatum to Russian President Vladimir Putin. He warned Russia to agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine or face harsh new sanctions and secondary tariffs, particularly aimed at Russia's oil exports. The deadline Trump initially set was 50 days, but it has since been revised to August 8th. That's when Medvedev responded on social media with a warning of his own, claiming Trump's demands were a step towards war, and referencing the old Soviet dead-hand nuclear retaliation system in a not-so-subtle threat. In response, President Trump took to Truth Social, calling Medvedev the failed former president of Russia, and warning him to watch his words, saying, "He's entering very dangerous territory." Shortly after, the U.S. submarines were quietly repositioned to what the administration calls appropriate regions. While specific locations aren't disclosed for security reasons, it's believed they're operating within strike range of Russian targets. This deployment is part of Trump's pressure strategy. The White House wants to force Moscow into serious negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. In the president's own words, "And now we're adding towns. Where they're being hit by missiles, we need a deal. We need to stop people from dying." He's making it clear. If Russia doesn't come to the table before August 8th, economic consequences are coming. That could include restrictions on oil, banking, and trade, all designed to isolate the Kremlin economically. But Trump also noted that Russia is pretty good at avoiding sanctions, calling Russian officials wily characters. It was a candid moment, and a reminder that sanctions aren't always bulletproof. Interestingly, Trump revealed that his envoy, Steve Witkoff, hasn't yet made the expected trip to Russia. Witkoff is currently focused on humanitarian work in Gaza, but may head to Moscow later this week if the opportunity opens up. This suggests that diplomatic channels remain open, but time is running out. Let's be clear, this isn't just about moving submarines. It's about sending a message. The presence of nuclear-armed subs, especially Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines, serves as a strategic deterrent. They're virtually undetectable and capable of launching nuclear strikes from thousands of miles away. By making their presence known, Trump is doing 2 things: deterring any real escalation from Russia after Medvedev's provocative language, reinforcing the credibility of his ultimatum by backing it with visible military might. But there's also risk. When nuclear power starts signaling with military assets, and doing so publicly, the chances of miscalculation increase. Moscow could misread the signal, especially if it views the subdeployment as preparation for a preemptive strike. That's where cooler heads and back-channel diplomacy become essential. Trump is walking a fine line between pressure and provocation. He's betting that bold public moves, like relocating nuclear subs and calling out Kremlin officials by name, will push Russia into negotiations. But, as history has shown, miscommunication in nuclear diplomacy can be deadly. With the August 8th deadline approaching fast, the stakes couldn't be higher. So what's your take? Is this strategic leadership or a dangerous gamble? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, give it a like, share it, and be sure to subscribe for more clear-eyed analysis of today's most important stories. See you in the next one.